And we've got a helicopter above us. Right when I start rolling, mate. What the heck? Fear can show up as a perfectionist. Hello, fellow people, friends of the internet. I wanted to hop on the channel and make a quick video because I haven't made a video in a minute, and I've always wanted to do more of these vulnerable talking head conversations, talking about deep thoughts that are mulling around in my head. And I thought, what better way than to talk about the culprit as to why I haven't been creating as many videos as I would like to, and that is perfectionism. And there's an airplane going by. Ideally, I would reshoot that, but you know what? Let's just keep rolling. So, I've struggled with perfectionism my whole life, with everything. I remember in the beginning when I was creating my first ever videos for this channel, I was so perfectionistic. I spent hours just nitpicking and editing to the beat of the music, and I remember vividly with a few of them that I finished the video, exported the video, watched it back before publishing it, and realized that there was a singular clip that was just a little bit off of the beat of the music. And I remember going back into the software, and sure enough, it was off by a single frame. And I dragged the clip back, made it line up perfectly, re-exported, watched it again, and found that there was, something wrong with the color between two clips. So I went back in, changed the color balance, tried to match them perfectly, re-exported, and I remember vividly that for the first couple videos, I would re-export them 3 to 4 times, just nitpicking every single detail, trying to make it absolutely perfect. Now that's a bit much, and I know most people probably don't suffer from that type of thing, and I'm not like that anymore, but I still have little tendencies like that I still do to this day. And I actually look back at all those old videos and I realize how imperfect they are. And it's funny that when I was uploading them for the first time, I was like, dang, these are good. I was so stoked on them, and I look back at them and I'm just in awe that I thought they were perfect. I recently came to understand where my perfectionism comes from. And it actually comes from me trying to be perfect in order to protect myself. It's me trying to protect myself from any criticism, from making a mistake, from looking inadequate, from failing. There's this really good quote. At its root, perfectionism isn't really about a deep love of being meticulous. It's about fear. Fear of making a mistake, fear of disappointing others, fear of failure, fear of success. Like I said, going back to this whole example of my channel and YouTube and, like following my aspirations and trying to make this thing a thing, I felt this great sense of imposter syndrome. Like when I was just starting out, I remember thinking, who am I to be creating these travel videos? Because I was back in the wave of travel videos, and I was thinking, there's people out there that are way better than me that are creating these types of videos. And I've been able to work around this imposter syndrome. I've been able to work around it. And the key word there is work around, not work through. And my way of working around this imposter syndrome is by being a perfectionist, to avoid any judgment of inadequacies. I still feel the imposter syndrome, even with this video right here. I still feel the imposter syndrome. I think there's people out there that are creating, you could Google search this right now, this exact topic. You could probably find actually more professional answers from doctors and such and all that. So I think this is a waste of time. Why am I creating this video when the knowledge out there is already readily available? So I think it's gotta be perfect. If I'm gonna make this video, it's gotta land, it's gotta be, it's gotta outshine the rest, it's gotta be perfect, it's gotta be something worthwhile, worth people's time, worth all these things. So that leads me to overthinking and over-prepping, and often because of that, I don't even shoot it because I just get so overwhelmed with the planning. And sometimes it even leads me to not even taking action at all. Just the idea in my head, I think, there's so much to do for this video, and that just wipes me out entirely. And that leads me to think that perfectionism is one of the root causes of procrastination. And I have a prime example of this. I mean, quite a few in my life, actually, but prime example is Europe. When I went to Europe in 2019, I filmed a ton. And before the trip, I had this huge, expectation in my head of what I wanted the video to look like. And when I got back home, I realized that I didn't plan out my shots the way that I intended to, and I had all this footage like overshot completely because I was like, when am I going to be able to do this again? So I just overshot everything. And just the idea of planning out a story that was perfect and like encapsulated my entire trip was just so daunting that I never even attempted to create said video. And all that footage, like 300 gigs worth, is just resting on my hard drive, collecting digital dust. All that being said, I think that action can be swallowed up when expectations are perfect. You can't have perfect expectations. You gotta lower those in order to allow for, room for that mistake, for a new take, a new direction, because if your expectations are so perfect, it can lead to inaction. I could ramble on about this for hours, trying to formulate my thoughts and just get it out there and, talk about these things, because I love these deep talks. I love these deep talks. When I'm hanging with friends, we talk about topics like this, I'll leave you with this. I was journaling, the implications of perfectionism in my life and how it can be, damaging. And I was journaling, and this thought came across my head. I wrote it down, and it was just so impactful to me in the moment, and perhaps it will be impactful to you. I think striving to be your best is learning to admit you're not perfect. And I think striving to be perfect is learning to admit you'll never be your best. Does that hit you guys? Because that hit me so hard when I wrote that. Yeah, I'll leave you with that. Like I said, I could ramble on about this for hours. I could have, taken my notes and rewritten them 100 times and not even shared this video. That's an exaggeration. I wouldn't have even done it 100 times. I would have done it like 2 times and been like, this is too much work. I don't have it in me. And that's just kind of this fear of being inadequate. And I'm sure I'm gonna look back at this video and think, dang, I didn't hit these points that I wanted to hit, or it's not as perfect as I want it to be, and I made a mistake there, and I feel like I failed in this area, in this regard. But I think being able to push past that and just take action and do something you're proud of is a lot more important than making sure that it's absolutely perfect, because it never will be. And I think I got people behind me. This will be a little awkward, but we'll see. You're good. You're good. Yeah. I don't call myself a YouTuber, but yes, I make YouTube videos.
Huh? On what?
I'm trying to figure that out for myself, I'm just making whatever and just having fun with it. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry we
No worries.
interrupted. Okay.
What's
No
your
worries.
channel?
It's just my name, Koté Green.
Havala!
What?
I'm not Havala. Yeah!
Yeah, my mom.
Your mother!
How do you know?
How do you what?
What?
Jack and Barb were my pastors.
Jack and Barb, that's my grandparents.
I know!
What the heck?
I knew when you were this
What's your name?
big.
Wow, that's
When you were just a little itty bitty baby. I knew you when you were this big.
that
That is
is
so
I knew you
random.
when
That
you
is
were in
so
your mother's
funny.
Tummy.
Wait, what is your name?
it has an accent on the E.
Oh yeah.
That's why it sounds
Oh,
like that.
wow.
That's so crazy. Small world.
So back in the late 80s.
Wow, that's so funny.
I know.
Small world.
And
God.
if it hadn't been for your name, then
Yeah, I
would
know.
have-
Yeah, the name. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I guess. That's kind of a positive to have.
Yeah.
A crazy, weird name. Nice to meet you again, I guess. Again, I just.
I might have even hailed you once upon a time.
That's so funny.
That's so random.
Well, nice meeting you.
Nice. Oh my goodness. Hey. Thank you. Sorry about that. That is so funny. That is bizarre.